Damn Super Bowl. Like, I thought, I hoped that my community is above that. Like, you guys are above the Super Bowl. Turns out I was wrong. I was so wrong. Ah, the Super Bowl, the evil entity taking away my entertainment. No one is streaming right now, so I have to stream myself. One of you guys suggested that Vosh is streaming. I just want to say, what can I say that's not mean? Because I'm not supposed to be mean to the chat. Are you out of your mind? Like, not even if it was the last stream on Earth, not even if I was stranded alone on a coconut island, and the only thing that I could watch was Vosh's stream, I still would not do it. I would not do it. By the way, you know, like when you say something absolutely ridiculous, like, because obviously it's never going to happen, like being stranded away on a coconut island, but like, what if in the future I take a flight to the United States, plane actually does go down, I actually do find myself on a coconut island, and for some reason there's like a small generator with a laptop attached, and the only thing you can do is to watch a Vosh stream on that laptop. Wouldn't that be interesting? Like, God would want to test to see whether or not you are lying. It's just it's so funny. A laptop that cannot connect to internet, but it only has like all the Vosh streams ever made. We feel like hell. It's like, do you feel tempted? Do you feel temptation? That would be the question. Do you want to open the laptop? Turn yourself up. Yeah, I did. I fixed the microphone. It should be better now. So yes, there's Valentine's Day today, which it's kind of good. I already bought the chocolates. So I'm safe. But for all of you guys, I don't know what you're going to do. I hope you manage to come up with something. Especially when in some places of the world you still have to show papers to get in a restaurant. Like, what if your significant other isn't vaccinated? What do you do then? You can't take her to a romantic dinner. You can't take her to the chocolates. What are you going to do then, bigot? What are you going to do then? So yeah, I mean, what if you lied to her? Like, what if you are the one that's not vaccinated, and you told your significant other that you are, and she's like, "Where are we going to go for Valentines?" And you're like, "Oh fuck, oh shit intensifies." What kind of chocolates? There's like this this Romanian chocolate called Poiana. How would you translate it? You would translate like, you know, when you're in the forest and you find the clearing. It's like, yeah, that's how it's called. It's like the clearing of the forest, I guess. And it's really good. It's really good. It's got peanuts in it. It's got peanuts. It's really great. I demand to know the furries vaccine status. Do you think like at the furry conventions they ask for vaccination status? Like, that would be funny considering that so many furries. Like, if you follow the drama in the furry community, it's a lot easier to spot the furry without HIV than the furry with. And they never had to like take HIV tests before going to a furry convention. In fact, like a very interesting part, like there are these furry historians that actually like, so they know like this furry has HIV, and they know that this furry slept with this furry, who slept with that furry, who slept with this furry, and they like do this whole tree. It's very beautiful, and you get to see like them like suspecting where the HIV went. So like with HIV, there's no problem, but like with Corona, I'm pretty sure that they need to show QR code. It's like, come on, we can't spread it around. It's a deadly disease. What the hell? So funny. Your birthday is Valentine's Day. Man, God, that would suck. That would suck so much. So a lot of people keep saying And you're going to, at least here in Romania, like I don't know in other places, it's like you don't have to celebrate Valentine's Day because it's just too commercialized, right? And the problem with this is like women have friends, okay? It's kind of like when guys go out with their other guy friends and they're talking about, oh, look how much of an expensive computer I got. It's like, no, my computer is more expensive. No, 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 my computer is the best, right? So they're like measuring computers. Girlfriends like to do that when they go out and they talk about what their boyfriend got them for Valentine's. Like, oh, my boyfriend got me this. My boyfriend got me that. Oh my God, my boyfriend got me. And you're putting her in a difficult situation where like all the other girls are measuring boyfriends and all of them are giving all these beautiful presents and gifts. And she's like, well, what did your boyfriend get you? You know? You don't want to put the woman, you don't want to put the lady in that situation. Chat. You don't want to put the lady in that situation. It's a bad situation to be in. It's like being at a computer measuring conversation and you have no computer. It's not good. It's not a good look. It's not a good look. So you need to do something. Is my live stream the security camera of the house? I wish. I mean, look how cool this house is. It's so nice. Although, my God, this is true. Like, they used to have doors like this. Can you imagine, like, having a door like this? The only problem is, like, my grandmother used to have a door like this. Like, what they would do is that they would put a blanket at the underneath of the door so that the cold can't get in. So this is, like, a historically inaccurate depiction of how a house like this would look. There's also no smoke coming out of the chimney. Like, I would also add this. Man, like, now that I think about it, it's very dangerous to live like this. I mean, there's probably wolves in the wilderness, right? Izzy Fix don't have a girlfriend? I mean, I guess. But, like, what do you do then for fun? Do you know how useful it is to have another person in the house? Like, it's so nice. Like, you don't get bored. Because you can do stuff with the other person, so... Yeah, I changed my sleeping schedule, so I wake up at 4 a.m. I used to wake up and watch Pippa, like that would wake me up, but apparently no one is streaming right now because of the Super Bowl, which I don't get. Like, again, I thought that my community is above the Super Bowl. It's like a couple of men running around chasing a ball. Why would you do that? Why are you chasing a ball? Why do you get millions of dollars chasing a ball? So we're going to talk about the Super Bowl a little bit, but let's wait for more people to join the chat. When I have like more people joining, then we'll talk. Insulate Britain with if they saw this picture. Yes, the house isn't insulated. That is correct. And not only that, they're burning wood. Honestly, like this is the new fetish of the European Union. Like I generally think they declared war on any type of energy. Like they really hate energy for some reason. So now they're going after people warming their house with firewood. Now the thing is, like in Romania, you do have these houses, just like in the picture. And they're like very secluded villages in the mountains, or not necessarily. Like there are some villages in the middle of nowhere, not necessarily in the mountains, but they still look like this, right? And the only way that they can heat their homes is by burning firewood. Like if you were to ban these homes from burning firewood, those people would have no way to heat themselves. Like they would die. But like the activists don't care. They don't give a shit. And you can say, well, like, how are you going to enforce it? Make it more difficult for people to buy wood. That's how you can enforce it, because they're already very poor. I mean, if you live in a place like this, the only thing that you have is like the field that you're farming, right? So like you can farm something to feed yourself, but you can sell whatever extra you have on the market, and you can buy some clothes, and that's it, right? Food for the animals or whatever. But if you were to make firewood expensive, like you don't even need to buy it, just make it more inaccessible and more expensive. Those people would just freeze to death in winter. It's so fucked up. Euro's watching Super Bowl. Well, no, because I have American friends. American subscribers, they watch the Super Bowl. So no, Europeans don't watch the Super Bowl. My water cooled 390 keeps me warm, literally. Your water cooler keeps you warm? This looks picturesque. Where is it from? An artist drew it. So you get to Steam and you buy the wallpaper engine. Best $2 you'll ever spend. And you have access to all of these really cool wallpapers. It's kind of funny. Like, my wife came in the other day and she's like, what you doing? And I'm like, nothing. What do you think my wallpaper is about? And she's like, probably some anime titties. And then I showed her this and I looked at her with disappointment. How dare you? How dare you insinuate that I am not a man of culture? This is culture. All right, we got more people in the chat. Let's talk about the Super Bowl. It's not as funny as the Chinese Olympics. Like those are number one. You cannot overtake the Chinese Olympics. But the Super Bowl is trying. I mean, we got here. Look, this is absolutely beautiful. We got rapper Eminem taking a knee. I gotta say, Eminem is the exact definition of kicking down the ladder. I mean, this guy, right? He manages to become popular because he is edgy. So he has songs where he gay bashes. He has songs where he talks about killing his mother. Like, I remember, like, when Eminem was out, I was so happy that my parents don't speak English because, like, I liked his songs. But at the same time, like, if my parents knew the lyrics, there is no way they would allow me to listen to Eminem. So he had, like, some of the most edgy songs you can imagine. And now he's, like, super politically correct, and then he's taking the knee, and he's, you know, like, for cancel culture and all this shit. And you see so many Hollywood actors doing this. Like, it reminded me when Joe Rogan was presidential by saying the N-word. And you have, like, all of these celebrities coming after him. And what people on the internet did is, like, they looked a little bit into these celebrities' past. Almost every single one of them said offensive shit and used to be edgy, right? So you have, like, the Peter Dinklage phenomenon where he gets casted because he's a dwarf. And by the way, like, dwarf isn't politically incorrect. Like, fuck you. Like, dwarf is the actual medical definition. It's dwarfism, right? It's a pathological illness that he is suffering from. I'm not saying it disparagingly, but objectively, he is suffering from that illness. So he gets casted into the role of a dwarf and becomes a millionaire, earns respecto. He's got respecto from the people. And then he goes after Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs on Disney, like, making sure that other dwarves can't get casted in Hollywood. Like, that is the most... That like, look, I know Peter Dinklage is... You know, like, he's a man of small stature, but his penis, like, his dick, he's such a dick, is probably insanely big doing that. Like, how can you do that to other people? Like, making sure they can't get casted in a role, so they can't get famous, so they can't get money. I guess, like, the only actor you can get in Hollywood when you're casting the role of a dwarf is Peter Dinklage, right? It's so disgusting. I don't know. Happy Hearts Day to you, Amakuno. I got French peeps watching the Super Bowl. Now, if I don't go to Paris in July, my French friend's gonna slap me aspirin now. I don't know if I can even watch the Super Bowl. Like, even if I wanted to. I don't have access to American media. Like, in the European Union, if you try to watch some American local news, it gets under a fire, behind a firewall. Because the EU doesn't allow you to watch websites or any channels that don't guarantee to protect your privacy. So because they can't protect my privacy, they don't get to be displayed in the EU. It's really ridiculous. So anyway, what is Eminem's real name? Whatever. According to a report from Puck, the rapper was at odds with the NFL over kneeling, Colin Kaepernick style during the Super Bowl 2022 halftime show. Eminem did indeed take a knee after the report stated that the NFL had nixed the idea. So yeah, I mean the NFL, like they have a disproportionate amount of black players. That's true. But the overwhelming amount of people who watch the NFL, they're not progressive. In fact, they are very conservative. Like a lot of people associate sports with patriotism because like you're supporting either your local team or you're supporting your country or your state or whatever. So like trying to use progressive ideology to these people just pisses them off. It's kind of like Nancy Pelosi said about the Olympics. You're there to compete. You're not there to make politics, right? So that's why the NFL doesn't want people to kneel anymore. And like not to mention like you're not like spreading the message. Like everyone got the message, okay? I saw people in Bulgaria doing BLM rallies, and Bulgaria is like 99% white in Eastern Europe. Like what the fuck? They never had black slaves in Bulgaria. Like they never even had a colonial empire, right? So everyone knows the message. Everyone knows what's up. What are you doing? Why you do this? Just stop it. Like this is virtue signal. The only reason they're doing this is because it's popular. Like it was popular to Nazi salute now. Eminem would have been the first one doing it. It's just like the bandwagon. It's got nothing to do with like helping people or raising awareness. He would help more people if he donated to a charity, unironically. He had the spat with Hillary in the early 2000s. Trump also endorsed him as shady for president, then turned around and said, "Screw Trump, vote Hillary." Well, but like it's probably shit behind the scenes. Like all of these actors and artists and entertainers, like they're paid to act. That's what they do. They're not paid to think. They're not paid to be intellectuals. Like you don't even know. Like I am willing to bet that deep inside Eminem is a right winger. Do you know why? Do you know why I think he's a right winger? Look at how much money he makes. Do you think he wants to pay this amount in taxes? There was another rapper, 50 Cent, and he said like he doesn't want to become 25 Cent. Like none of them want to pay all this money in taxes. Look what's happening in California now. Like all of these famous celebrities, they're leaving. They're leaving the state. People leave Hollywood. Why? Because their progressive utopian policies are taking effect. So, like, if they were legitimately left-wing, why would they leave? I mean, it's like, why would you leave a place like California now, which gives you everything you want for, like, literally, all the things that you're advocating for are there, and you're going to Florida, or you're going to Texas, or you're going to these evil right-wing places. Why are you doing this? Nah, it doesn't make sense if you're legitimately a leftist, but they're not leftists. They're just virtue signalers. So the reason they're leaving is because they don't believe in the ideology. So like it's everything happening behind the boards. Like you have PR teams and other companies which probably contacted Eminem and said, "Hey, look, all right, like it's good for your business if you virtue signal to the left, because otherwise you can get canceled. So maybe you are a Trump supporter. We don't care. Just keep it to yourself and shill for Hillary." So that's what's happening, right? Like you look at the entertainment industry, it's probably like thousands of people, and 99% of them are left wing. Like it's next to impossible for that to happen naturally. Like there is no way. If you take 1,000 people in a room, some of them are going to be left wing, some of them are going to be right wing, and most of them probably won't even care about politics. Hello, Billy. Texas is full. I actually heard, so I have like many subscribers that are from California now, and they moved to Texas, and they get a lot of stigma and hate until they remove their Californian license plates. So there seems to be a lot of xenophobia from Texas towards California. Like, for example, my Blizzard developer contact, he moved away from California now. He went to Texas, and apparently, like, people really disliked him. Like, he would get flashes and honks in traffic. People, like, there were neighbors that were trying to clear up the snow from the entire neighborhood, that they would avoid his house. Like all of that thing. Until he changed his license plate. The moment he changed his license plate was all good. So there is a big culture war brewing. You know, like some people on the internet, like Tim Pool, you know, he thinks the South is going to get the band back together. Now, I don't think that's going to happen, but there was like this rumor which obviously is not going to materialize. But there was this rumor that literally made me think and question the wisdom of the U.S. president. He said that if the Texas governor isn't going to abide by the vaccine mandates, he's going to have him arrested. So I don't know if this was a rumor or true, because I heard about it. But if that were true, like that is how you get the South to have the band back together. Like, are you crazy? Like, you can't do that. Because, like, what happens is, like, okay, let's say, like, the U.S. president would say, arrest this governor. And the governor says, okay, well, the military, right, like the National Guard is going to, he's going to get the state troopers to defend himself from being arrested. And then, like, voila, you now have, like, the boogaloo. It's so weird. Like, no, it's literally the only way possible that this would happen. And by the way, when you look at Texas, it's got a lot of, and I think, like someone probably told Biden about this, because, like, he was going a little bit crazy in the beginning. He was like, oh, Texas this, Texas that, oh, Texas is evil, Texas. I don't know how many of you remember this, but it was, like, literally in the beginning, like, Texas was Satan. And probably, I assume, someone told him, it's like, look, there's a lot of military bases in Texas, right? And Texas also has a lot of nukes. It's a nuclear power. Let's not piss it off. Like, just shut the fuck up with Texas, okay? Like, just calm the fuck down. I think that's what probably happened. Why won't you make political statements, Michael Jackson? Because Republicans buy MJ. Because Republicans buy sneakers too. Who said that? Who's MJ? Michael Jordan. Oh, yeah, that is a good point. Well, I think what people discovered, and this is why I'm saying, like, right-wingers should cancel as well. People discovered that when the left is getting pissed off, like, if you're a Chick-fil-A and you donate money to the Salvation Army, well, what ends up happening is that leftists are going to boycott your store. So it's not like they're going to choose not to buy your chicken sandwich. No, like, they're going to form a human chain in front of our restaurants and prevent other people from entering. They're going to dedicate their free time in order to slander and in order to attack your establishment. So if you go against woke culture, I mean, Tim Pool said that in Portland, on every single store, there was, like, a leftist communist slogan. It's pretty much like when God sent the angel of death upon Egypt, and all the Israelites, they would have, like, the blood of the lamb on their doors so that the angel of death passes them over. It's kind of like that in Portland. Kind of like that, where everyone is, like, putting these communist slogans on their restaurants, on their businesses, hoping that the angel of death, the angel of Marxism, passes them over. And Tim Pool entered one of these restaurants, and he was talking with the owner, who was very right-wing, which most business owners are. And he found out that, like, well, why are you doing this? Like, why are you putting this sign out there? Because you clearly don't believe in it. And he's like, oh, well, it's because I want the angel of Marxism to pass me over. So, that's a thing that happens, like the virtue signaling, like hoping that they're not going to notice you. The same people complaining about GMO foods 5 years ago, pushing non-meat meat. Look at the bright side. Soy boy jokes can continue. Oh my fucking god! Like, there is so much to unpack about the meat controversy. Like, I'll probably make a video about it today, because there is, like, way more to be said about it. But, like, okay, so this lady, right, she's saying that eating meat is masculine, and it probably was if you live in the past. Because, like, a lot of people were like, oh, well, aren't you a real man? You need to eat meat, right? Because, like, you need energy, like, to do sports. That's the whole reason. It's like, you need, like, look at the athletes at the Olympics. Like, they're complaining because they're getting prison food and they can't compete. Like, they don't have the strength to compete, and they're falling on the ice and all that shit. So, like, you need a lot of protein if you want to be an athlete, right? So it was associated with manliness. Like, you need to do back-breaking labor. You need to eat well in order to do the labor. But now, like, look at the people eating the Impossible Burger or the Beyond Meat bullshit. the only reason they're eating it is not because it's good, but it's to virtue signal. That's why they're eating it. It's not like no one goes for the Impossible Burger because it's objectively tasting better than a normal burger. Like, let's be honest, no one fucking does that. It's not a better product. Like, no, people don't choose it because they like it. Like, they choose it so that they can virtue signal, so that either to themselves or to others. I mean, you can virtue signal to yourself. It's like, oh, look, I'm living a life-free life. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, like, don't give me the bullshit that people eat meat in order to prove their masculinity. Now people eat the vegan burger in order to prove their wokeness. Because it's still an ideology. Like, but the difference is, like, many people eat the meat because it tastes good. Right, so Sticks Hexenhammer did a lot of coping right now. Let me see the Sticks Hexenhammer cope. I'll probably make a response video to him. I'll have to listen to his video, so I'm not doing it right now. Look at this scope. Look at this scope. Thoughts on diet and nutrition. Yes, vegetables can taste good. But that's not what he said. That is not what he said. He said that you don't need meat to have a good dish, and people don't know how to cook their vegetables. Right? Like, people don't know how to cook their vegetables because then vegetables can taste a lot better if they're cooked. And the answer to his scope is, you're right, like, vegetables cooked can taste better, but people know how to cook their meat. Right? Like, people know how to cook their vegetables, but they also know how to cook their meat, and the meat tastes always better than the vegetable. I don't think there's any exception to this rule. Like, I don't think you can have vegetables that taste better than meat. Maybe, like, I don't know, like some rice. But, like, the thing is, like, it goes in combination, right? Like, I wouldn't like a dish that has only meat. It's not good. It's not that healthy either. Like, if you only have meat on the plate, right? So you need a combination. I mean, this is why all cultures have a sort of bread, like whether it's actual bread or it's like the way the Turks call it. They call it lipie. I don't know how you translate it in English, but it's the thing that wraps around, like the burrito, for example, right? You have that wrapping, like the burrito wrapping, right? Like that's instead of bread. Like, all the cultures have something to replace bread with, right? Because, like, they combine meat with vegetable. It's how you're supposed to eat. And you're supposed to eat, I think it's like 75% vegetables and 25% meat. So it's fine. Like, if you have, like, a tiny bit of steak on your plate and everything else is rabbit food. Someone needs to eat vegan gates. Well, here's another thing, right? Like, I don't know anything about vegan gains, but let's be honest, the guy can stuff his face with burgers behind the screen, and there's no way of you knowing it. I mean, it's not like it's a scientific experiment that he is doing, where he's like being monitored at all times and has his blood work to see if he actually eats meat or not. Like, he can stuff his face with burgers as much as he wants, and you will never know about it. Billy Odell, Angel of Death Paid. Wow, thank you. But I think dollars actually enrages the angel. The angel of Marxism actually gets enraged by dollars. It gets enraged by prosperity. Unless you're Hassan Piker, then the angel of death is happy. So unless you give me more so I can buy a Porsche, Billy, like, the angel of death is going to pass me over. Bread is made of plants, so it's a veggie. Yes, it is. So, I'll probably make a video responding to Mr. Sticks Hexenhammer today. Sticks Hexenhammer 666. The hypocrite vegan would be hilarious. Man, do you know how many of them ended up being hypocrites? I mean, there were vegans caught by their friends or exposed to the public. But it kind of makes sense. Like, think about it this way, right? Imagine if you're genuinely a vegan. And statistics show that 75% of vegans stop being vegans within 1 month or two, right? So it's the trend is not on their side. But imagine if you're a legit vegan and you start a YouTube channel, you manage to become quite famous, and now the money starts rolling in. Now you get, I don't know, like let's say you get like $2,000, $3,000 a month. And you really can't be a vegan now. Like your body, like you feel weak, you feel fatigued. That's what many people say when they're when they're veganizing. Now you have two choices. You can either say, "Well, shit, I guess I can't do it," and then like the vegan community is very vicious towards people who can't do it. They will say, "Oh, well, it's just you." Say, well, no, because everybody is different, right? Like every single individual is different. Like maybe some people can tolerate the diet more than others. You don't know, but like they're vicious towards people that quit. So you can choose to be honest, and your entire channel, like your entire thing on the internet, goes down, or you can pretend. And if you pretend, you still get money. You still do the grift. Take your girl out somewhere romantic. In a Porsche. I will do it. Porsche deposit. Billy, calm down. Jesus Christ, Billy. Just calm down. Holy shit. Don't you have a girl to take somewhere romantic? Take her to the gun range. I swear to God, if I was in the US, that's what I would have done. I would have taken my woman to the gun range. And then I give her a weapon so I can laugh at her, like a shotgun or something. Like, and when she goes like boom, she flies halfway across the room. That would be funny, Like, I'm going into Ramadan soon. Pray for me. So, are Muslims allowed to eat during Ramadan after dark? I think they are, right? Because otherwise, they are Muslims, but I don't think they can survive without food for a long period of time. So, Ramadan isn't actually that difficult. Like, just don't eat during the day. Like, reverse your sleeping schedule. Like, think about it. If you're probably in a Middle Eastern nation, and the temperatures during the day are like 40, 50 degrees, you probably don't go out anyway. So you just revert your life schedule, I guess, to be more active during the dark. You vampirize yourself. Yeah, after sunset. I think like Ramadan is like I could manage to do it without food. Like not eating during the day and eating during the night is fine. However, doing it without water, that is like, dude, come on. That is a little bit too much. Like, I think you're not allowed to drink either. Like, that is very inconvenient. Yeah, like, drink water. That is fucked up. And you can't masturbate. Holy shit. Try living in Sweden and the sun doesn't set. Oh, yeah. Like, they didn't take into account for geographical locations. Holy. Like, that. Now I realize. Yeah. Like, it's not on a timely basis. Like, it doesn't tell you can start eating at 6 p.m. It's like when the sun sets. Abdi, what if you're at the North Pole, motherfucker? Like, what if a Muslim goes to the North Pole and, like, they have those days that, like, because at the North Pole, if I'm not mistaken, you have, like, entire months where it's dark outside, and then you have entire months where it's day outside. So, if you go to the North Pole, it's, like, constant day for weeks on end. Like, how are you going to deal with that? Fasting now again is good for you. Yeah, but like what the Muslims are doing is a little bit too hardcore. We do have this in Orthodox Christianity. At least it's called a black fast, like black fasting. So a black fast is when you don't drink and when you don't eat either. And you're supposed to do it for an entire day. So like 24 hours. You don't eat and you don't drink. And my God, that's brutal. A Muslim in the North Pole can eat the snow. It's not water or food. Dude, the snow is water. Alphonse, what are you smoking? Snow is water. What did you think it is? Did you think it's like an eldritch abomination that it materializes? Guantanamo also celebrates Ramadan. Oof. But how do they know when the sun sets? Do the guards tell them? What if the guards lie? Like, you have to put a lot of faith in the guard not to spread false news. I do think, like, in Guantanamo, they did their best in order to disrespect Islam. So, like, they would force people to use the Quran pages to go to the toilet. They would force them to eat bacon. Like, they would keep the prisoner starving, and then they would give him a bacon sandwich. Like all this shit. Which is kind of weird, because like that's like really communist bullshit that they did there. And a lot of Americans were fine with it, because it's like, oh, they're terrorists. It's like, how do you know they didn't even stand trial? Like, what the fuck? And not to mention, like, you had many of these FBI agents who wanted a name for themselves, and they would go to a mosque, and they would find like a crazy person there, like someone that's local, and they would go like, hey, don't you want to do an attack? Like, surely you want to do an attack. Hey, let's do an attack together. And then when the person, like, did it, it's like, we're FBI. Lock him up. And I'm thinking, it's like, okay, well, if that's such a big issue, like, if there's so many terrorist attacks in the United States, why can't you catch one that doesn't get instigated by the FBI, right? I mean, it's so fucked up. And their argument was like, well, that person had a nature, like a predisposition nature towards doing terrorism. And you're thinking like, okay, well, you have certain people that are very easy to influence one way or another. So it's likely that if you send like a hot girl telling them to get into the military because that's cool, and like they should defend their country and they should become a Marine or something, I mean, they would have become a Marine. Like, because they're very easy to manipulate. Like, some people out there are pushovers and you can manipulate them either way, right? But you chose to manipulate them to do crimes so you can arrest them. It's so fucked up. Yeah, Gretchen Whitmore. I mean, it's a very good example where the FBI had their case thrown because, like, almost everyone within the case was a plant. Like, everyone was trying to encourage the guy to do the crime. Like, get the fuck out. That's not justice. That's not how the law works. Hope it's all well. Did the Kurt mention that he got info from you a couple of days? Might be totally off. No, I got a shout out at the Jimmy Dore show. I saw a guy get bread and water for a week in the brig. That's what communists used to do to starve prisoners. Although, like, sometimes it can be done legitimately because the prison doesn't have money. So it's not always out of malice, but it is fucked up. It's hellish. Least it's not in the summer with the long summer days. Now it's actually spring. Yeah, like now the days are a little bit shorter. Jimmy Dore is insane. Man, I don't need to like the guy. See, I don't purity spiral an entire individual. Like, when an individual has arguments that I like, I pick the ones that I like. If he makes a good point, he makes a good point. I don't care. Like, Hillary Clinton can make a good point. I never heard her making one, but I'm pretty sure she can. It's really... and by the way, right-wingers can make bad points as well. Like, I know conservatives that make bad points. So I don't do like that. Oh, well, this is a person that I don't like. It's like, well, okay. I can still listen to them and filter what they're saying through my head. Through my noggin. Which is jogging. Okay, let's look at something else. So everyone is talking about the Ukrainian thing. Like Russia and Ukraine. And I just want to show you guys this. The United States has notified Israel that the Russian invasion of Ukraine will begin on February the 16th. Like, first of all, Israel is probably, why the fuck are you involving me into this shit? Like, why do we care? Like, you're the one that signed the treaty with Ukraine to protect them. Why are you involving us? The secondly, it's like, when you play a strategy game, like you play StarCraft, or you play Civilizations, or whatever. Like something where you move units on a map. And before attacking, you announce the attack. Like, you tell your opponent, hey, I'm going to attack your base. I'm going to take my drop ships behind your lines, and I'm going to start dropping soldiers over there in roughly 25 seconds, right? Is that how war is like? You just announce an attack beforehand? I don't know. It seems weird to me. It's just like it's kind of weird. I guess, like, like Israel does it. Maybe that's why they announced Israel. Like, they do it in Palestine. It's like, oh, we're going to bomb this building. It's like, evacuate. So that's maybe. Yeah. I already finished Resident Evil 3, Billy. God, you actually really like that game, Billy. Why don't you buy the game and play it yourself? Billy, you told me you don't play video games, and now you're talking about pylons. And you make the connection with Star. Billy, I feel that you're not honest with me. I feel that you have never been entirely honest with me. That's how neoliberals treat war, like it's some kind of festival. I gotta say that is correct. It's like, oh yes, the festival is starting. That is just like so weird. And by the way, like how bad are the Russians? I mean, their military can't keep their secrets together. So, like, here's interesting, right? Like, the Russians, they can hack the United States constantly. But the US, they have the power of, like, knowing from Russia high command when, like, top secret information gets to have, like, they have spies infiltrated at the highest echelons of the US Army. Why can't the US hack Russia for a change? Like, why can't the US influence elections in Russia for a change? Why? Like, it seems that they have spies in very high places. If I was Russia, I would be very worried. But I did speak with a couple of subscribers from the US. One of them is a government contractor, and take it with a grain of salt, but they told me that his company is now going on, what did they call it? War status, right? Like, a lot of government contracts are coming for satellites and shit. I don't know. I mean, is a war with Ukraine possible? Yes, but it's unlikely, all right? I would be Pikachu face if it happens. But again, like, this is not up to me, right? Like, this is usually something talked behind closed doors. I am still almost entirely sure that it's not going to happen, unless the Ukrainians start something, right? So unless the Ukrainians are the first ones to launch, like, a preemptive strike, which, again, like, I don't think they will. But unless that happens, no. The Russians are fighting the Ukrainians. This they announced to the Americans, so not to kill Americans, or it will create an incident. Man, they like, let me show you something, all right? So this is the map of the Ukraine. It's quite a big country. It's not a small nation. Right? And this is where the Russians are. And if they're going to attack, they're going to come from Donetsk. Let me see. All right, here you go. Where's Donetsk? Donetsk. All right. If the Russians attack, they're going to be like around Donetsk and Crimea, right? So there is no way that the U.S. troops are this close to the border. Like, the U.S. sent troops in order to train the Ukrainian military. So it's very possible that the U.S. troops are somewhere in Kiev, like in the capital. Like, they're far away from the actual combat line. They're not going to participate in a military conflict. So, like, Russia warning the United States that, hey, we're coming, in order for you to, like, know to pull your troops back, that's bullshit. There is no way you have American troops at the border. And if you have American troops at the border, then America probably placed them there so that they get collateral so that the U.S. intervenes. But I don't even think, like, the U.S. wants to intervene. What they would do is, like, they would send all of the toys, like the new developed gadgets, like anti-tank and heavy weapons and other shit. They would send them to Ukraine so that they can use it against the Russians and the U.S. can see how well their equipment works. That's probably what's going to happen. You're not going to see boots on the ground from the US. And by the way, this is where Romania is, right? So like the war is probably going to be around here, and this is where my country is at. Because a lot of people keep asking, like, where is Romania? Where is Romania? What does Romania think of all this? Well, apparently the president said that the situation is under control, so I'm being controlled. No. He said that he has a handle on the situation. He didn't elaborate any further, but there is a handle on this. So the situation is being handled. I think Romania will stay neutral, to be honest. Maybe send aid to the Ukrainians, like maybe equipment, soldiers. But mostly it's going to stay neutral. And its current position is that of support for Ukraine. And, well, with Romania it's different because it's a member of NATO, so it's a lot more different than the situation in Ukraine. But yeah, that's pretty much the position. The problem is like Germany. If you look at it, it's getting gas from Russia. Like Germany is energy dependent on Russia, and you'll notice that Germany is actually pro-Russia a lot more than any other European country. So, for example, Britain wanted to send a couple of helicopters with aid towards Ukraine, and Germany didn't allow those helicopters to violate its airspace. So there's like a lot of diplomatic hints that Germany is an ally of Russia. And it kind of makes sense. Like if you look at the situation in Germany after the Fukushima incident, they shut down all of their nuclear reactors because of environmentalist activists, right? So Germany shut down all of its reactors, and now it doesn't have enough solar and wind power in order to be energy independent. So it has this gas coming from Russia, and they want to have like Nord Stream 2 pipeline to go into Germany to make it even more dependent on the Russians. So like that's pretty much how it goes, right? Like when you look at, oh yes, global emissions, oh we're lowering the carbon. No, you're importing gas from Russia. That's what you're doing. You shut down your own gas production. You shut down your own possibility of having gas. And on the European Union, they want all countries to be dependent on Russia because they're trying to get nuclear off of green energy, right? So they don't want nuclear power to be considered green energy. And because of that, like what would countries do, right? Like you need gas, like you need to have an economy, you need so you're going to import it from Russia, which is fine. Right? As long as you're not producing it in your country. This is pretty much what environmentalism is about, right? As long as you're not producing it in your country. Like as long as the pollution is somewhere else, then it's fine. So for example, building stuff, like making cars. Okay, like making cars pollutes the environment. So if you have like a car manufacturing factory in your country, well, you're adding to the pollution. But if you import cars from China, like if you buy them from China, then it's fine because you're not polluting, right? Like that's pretty much how the Green New Deal operates. Like as long as you import stuff that's made somewhere else, you're good to go. Superpowers actually warred each other, blah blah blah. Okay, I'm telling you, Abdi, there's not going to be a war. On what was it? Like 15th? When is Russia supposed to invade? Let me check. I mean, last time they were supposed to invade in January, but now it's February, so I guess the timeline was moved. All right, 16th of February. Do you want to make a bet, Abdi, that nothing will happen on the 16th of February? Do you want to do that? Do you want to see that it's going to be 17th of February and nothing will happen? It's going to be Thursday, and you're going to... Well, I don't know if you're going to end up disappointed. I hope you're not going to end up disappointed. I hope you're going to be happy. There are some nations that announce beforehand when they will attack, like Israel, but like throughout the history of warfare, you don't really get that. Well, Valvitic, you see correct. The dungeons require escaping. Yeah, Abdi, I think it's bullshit. Like, I don't think anything will happen. Because the Americans sounded the alarm. Well, they can do that every day then. You know, they just keep sounding the alarm. You know, move it back a couple of days. The US president was telling that Kiev is going to be sacked. I mean, they're living in cuckoo land. I don't know where they're getting that information from. Like, you would definitely need like a couple of heavy you would need a couple of heavy fighting going on for months. Like a couple of very hard battles before the Russians even get Kiev and sack it. Like, sack it. Like, the nations don't even sack shit anymore. Like, what the whatever. Okay, fine. Play Lost Ark? No. I'm actually not going to take refugee. I mean, well, you know, you never know what you're going to do until I guess the rubber hits the road. But I'll probably not leave. I mean, I have a wife here, so I also have a house. There is no leaving this. There was actually a very interesting Babylon Bee article, which suggested that the people advocating for war on the internet should be drafted in the Ukrainian military. And Abdi, apparently, he wants to volunteer. I mean, he said he wants to volunteer. I still press X to doubt. I don't think Abdi wants that Ukrainian citizenship that bad. No, Abdi, I don't think so. Jesus fucking Christ. You have way too much faith in the U.S. military in order to genuinely believe it's like so like you would need to have Russia penetrated at the highest levels of command by the Americans in order for that to happen. Like, if that was the case, Russia would probably have to stop everything they were doing and find out who the mole is, and like try to purge its military before going to war. Like, can you even imagine, like, if they would know this? All the battle plans, all the military secrets, everything would be compromised. It's a 3-hour flight for Abdi. Yes, like Sweden to Ukraine, around 3 hours, probably less. I think it's like 2 hours. It's 3 hours flight from here to Britain. So from Romania to London, it's a 3-hour flight. Bering just dropped a video. You should stream it and react. Nah. I think I'm going to make my own video. I need to talk about the vegan stick, sex, and hammer. So thank you guys for watching. Hopefully this was a nice morning stream. And let me know what you guys got for your girlfriend this Valentine's. And